worksite to have it installed. Taking sort of the express elevator route to the alpha magnetic spectrometer, while Andrew Morgan goes back into the airlock, grabs some tools, and takes the stairs over to the starboard 3 work site. On the top are the zenith facing, that's the space facing side of the International Space Station.
Okay, Luca, I'm going to give you that starboard motion. You're going to be going about on 1 meter station starboard.
Copy.
Motion.
That's good motion, good clearance from my perspective. Good motion.
All right, Luca, now I'm going to bring you station nadir about 1 meter.
Okay.
Starting motion.
That's good motion and good clearance. Good.
Jessica Meir at the controls of the station's robotic arm, maneuvering Parmitano, currently in the foot restraint. Background there, you can see the International Space Station 266 statute miles over the South Atlantic Ocean. What you're seeing is the east coast of Argentina.
You think you can lean forward to it?
Morgan now handing off the new pump system over to Parmitano.
You would be your key. Okay, Jessica. If you still have motion, I will take another half a meter starboard.
Okay, copy that, Luca. We'll give you another half a meter starboard.
I have a very good view of the arm and everything is clear.
Okay, we copy. Starting motion.
Motion. Clear.
Continuing. Here's your half meter.
And it's a good position. Do you think you can lower it a little bit? Yeah, that's good. I have a red on it. You can release your red. Okay, you have a red on it. GCA complete, Jessica. And you have a
GCA complete.
You have a hand on it. I have a hand on it. I have control. You have control? My red is released. It's your pump. It's my pump. I have control. I have a red. I have everything on it. Okay, and if you want me to stand by to help any check on your looks like you're rotating it just fine. Yeah, I want you to check the AAS from your side. Roger that. Whenever you're ready. Yep. Okay, they're looking good. I think the bundle is still attached, and 2 and 4 look to be tucked in like they were when we put it in, so good.
A great view of Parmitano at the end of the station's robotic arm.
That APFR is the biggest thing right now, and I see your tethers all look good, and I see the tether, your 60 tether you're leaving behind looks good. So, one of my foot is out. Okay, stand by. I'm gonna get a hand on it. I'm good. Okay.
A great view of the pump system now next to the body of Parmitano. That new pump system, 350 pounds, about 159 kilograms.
They're locked, aren't they? Let me have a... Yeah, I'm locked. Okay, all right.
Okay, Drew, you're picking up crew log bag 4 and heading out. Don't forget your poorman's fair lead at the Sea to Spur. Luca, you're on your way.
Jessica, your go for your maneuvers.
Okay, stand by, Luca. We have a few things to configure here before we get moving again.
Copy. All right, I'm on the move. port side. Shift to work side.
Parmitano set with the new pump in tow, awaiting for the next procedures for Jessica Meir to maneuver the arm to the work site. In the meantime, Morgan making his way back to the airlock. Inside will be a box of tools. First things first, they needed to move that new pump system over and work together to maneuver it over to that spot where it is now. Now, with some free hands, Morgan's going to make his way back to the airlock and grab some of the tools that are necessary to complete the work here at the alpha magnetic spectrometer.
Data looks good. Met rates look good, so we're in good shape.
Excellent. Good to hear.
Your next job is don't let go of the box and enjoy the view.
Two things are mutually exclusive because the view is blocked by the box, but I think I'll hold on to the box.
Okay, that's a good call.
Again, Parmitano with that new box in his hands. Of course, he'll have the Earth right underneath him. Now the International Space Station, 262 statute miles over the South Atlantic, making a northeasterly trip. Should hit the western border of Africa just about 20 minutes or so. That new box, though, 350 pounds, 159 kilograms. Inside, the intricate work being done on the ground to make sure everything, all the connections would be easy, or at least as easy as possible for the two spacewalking astronauts. Some very fine parts that are difficult to work with gloves, but teams on the ground were able to design systems to be easily integratable with the alpha magnetic spectrometer with minimal connections. The dimensions there, 42 inches by 32.25 inches by 16.25 inches. That's about 107 by 81 by 40 centimeters.
Good motion.
Copy, continuing.
And Parmitano on his way. His job is to essentially deliver that new pump to the alpha magnetic spectrometer by way of the Canadarm2. Morgan's job will be to retrieve some of the tools from the crew lock, that's the airlock of the International Space Station, some of the critical tools that will be needed to install the pump. One of the tools in tow by Parmitano is the pistol grip tool he'll use to drive bolts to install that pump. But some of the finer tools, specially designed for the repair of the alpha magnetic spectrometer, being retrieved by Morgan now.
Adrian, see it open the seat spare. I'm trying to reel out a fair lead there. Like it's going to stay.
Luca, we're ready to start this first JOCAS. It'll be 2 minutes.
Copy, 2 minutes JOCAS.
Starting motion.
As Parmitano makes his way up to the work site of the Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer, we'll be taking some questions using the hashtag AskNASA. This one from Timmy, who's asking, what is the device with the gold dishes on the space station? Right now, that's at the bottom or the top left corner of your screen, just coming out of view now. Those are the solar arrays of the Cygnus cargo vehicle. That's the Cygnus CRS-12. That vehicle was the one that delivered the pump that you're seeing now in the hands of Luca Parmitano. Those are the Ultraflex solar arrays that are used while the Cygnus is in flight to the International Space Station. One of the many cargo vehicles that visit the International Space Station, delivering critical components like the one you're seeing right now in the hands of Luca Parmitano, and some of the tools and equipment that are used for the spacewalk itself. Parmitano undergoing some of the maneuvers by Jessica Meir. Jessica Meir at the hands of the robotic arm, maneuvering Luca Parmitano over to the work site.
Hold. Give us a moment while we load the next showcast.
Copy, 30 miles.
Just off screen from this view is Luca Parmitano. At the end of the robotic arm, you can see the latching end effector of the robotic arm, essentially the hand. That gold structure off to the side, that's the articulating portable foot restraint, the APFR. You'll hear that acronym a few times. That's the foot restraint that's currently holding Luca Parmitano. Off in the distance, that's Andrew Morgan with tools in tow on his way to the work site, the Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer. From this view, you can see just off to the top there, that white structure on the very top of the truss, just before the solar rays that are pointing to the top right. 50 minutes into today's spacewalk. Everything on track so far.
So we're ready for the next showcast. This one's going to be 3.5 minutes.
Copy.
Ready, motion.
As Parmitano makes his way to the Alpha Magnetic Spectrometer work site, on the top right you see the external pallet delivered by the HTV-8. That's the H-2 transfer vehicle, a Japanese cargo vehicle that delivered lithium-ion batteries earlier this year. That pallet still has 3 lithium-ion batteries attached to it. Some of the nickel-hydrogen batteries from one of the space station's power channels are already on that pallet. The rest will be installed next year.
the work site.
Okay, Drew. Crew lock bag 4 is going down the ELC, and then you can set up the bags in the APFR.
And work.
Andrew Morgan reporting that he's already at the work site. Parmitano, you see at the end of the station's robotic arm. He's carrying the highlighted component of today. That's that new pump that'll give the alpha magnetic spectrometer the life it needs. That's a cooling pump, and will allow the alpha magnetic spectrometer to continue to collect particles throughout the life of this station.
Okay, that's position hold. 1 moment while we load the next showcast.
Copy.
Jessica Meir working at the controls of the robotic arm, currently holding and waiting that next position. In the meantime, we'll continue to answer Ask NASA questions. Keep using the hashtag AskNASA to send them in. This question comes from David. David's asking, how does the alpha magnetic spectrometer collect particles? A very good question. The key word there in alpha magnetic spectrometer is magnetic. There's a very powerful magnet inside the alpha magnetic spectrometer, significantly more powerful than the magnetic field of the Earth even. And what the magnet does is as cosmic rays and other cosmic particles pass through the alpha magnetic spectrometer, the magnet allows those particles to spin in a certain direction, a certain speed, a certain diameter. And that spin can be calculated and measured inside the AMS as a data point, one of several billion. The alpha magnetic spectrometer is essentially gathering data with this magnet, measuring that spin and what kinds of particles. Depending on the direction of the spin and the mass of the particle itself, they can detect whether it's an electron or perhaps an antimatter like positron. Both of the same mass, but if they spin in different directions, it's a data point for...
No doubt, as are we. Did you make use of that adjustable there for the fair lead as well?
A data point for more of the cosmic particles that may reveal the origins of the universe. In the meantime, Parmitano is still making his way over to the alpha magnetic spectrometer, the white structure you see sort of at the top of the truss there, just before the solar arrays. That's the S3 truss, that's where the alpha magnetic spectrometer is housed. Morgan already there, getting his tool situated, getting ready for Parmitano, making sure everything's set for when he arrives. First thing to do would be to install that new pump system.
Here's position hold, Luca. We'll now load the next showcast.
Copy. Fair lead is down. Large, small ruts are on the bags.
From this view, you can see the feet of Andrew Morgan poking out near the work site. That's the alpha magnetic spectrometer. You can see AMS on the blanket there. He's working his tether configuration and making sure that he's all set up, since they'll be there for the entirety of today's spacewalk. Not too far behind Luca Parmitano, you can see making his way at the end of the station's robotic arm over to the alpha magnetic spectrometer. The new pump in tow, that'll be the first task once they get over to the alpha magnetic spectrometer, installing that box. Much of the prep work has already been done on a previous spacewalk. This prep work includes installing a mechanical attachment device. This is the device that will hold the new pump system, routing some of the cables that'll be connected to the new pump system, and cutting some of the tubes that'll be connected to the new pump system.
Starting motion.
And lead yacht 12.
Okay, copy that, Drew.
Stand by, Luca, starting in 5 seconds.
Copy. All right, motion.
Great communication by the crew aboard the International Space Station. Jessica Meir inside at the controls of the station's robotic arm.
At some point.
You're hearing Jeremy Hansen, the ground IV. He's the voice here in Mission Control Houston to the spacewalking astronauts.
I reported that the bags were still here then. I just power cycled it.
Okay, thanks, Drew. And if you get a chance, check your mirror and see if you have a green light.
I got a green light now. Yeah, green light.
Thanks.
Parmitano continuing to make his way over. Once at the worksite, Parmitano from this angle will be positioned sort of upside down, his head pointing towards the Earth. Morgan, on the other hand, will be on the nadir side, on the bottom side of the alpha magnetic spectrometer, his head facing towards space. Parmitano's job will be to insert the new box into the mechanical attachment device that had been installed on the previous spacewalk. And it'll be Morgan's job to help guide Parmitano and the box into the mechanical attachment device. There's a soft dock and a bolt. That bolt fits perfectly with the mechanical attachment device and allows for a good alignment.
Position hold. We'll load the next showcast.
It sort of just holds the box in place to allow for the a stable position and allow for the data and power connections to be routed to the specified locations on the box. That'll be the next task once it's installed. Now getting a view from the helmet camera of Luca Parmitano. You can see some of the attachments for data and power on from the view of Luca Parmitano's helmet camera.
All right, Luca, the next showcast will be 3.5 minutes.
Copy, ready.
Starting motion.
crew lock back 4 into under the fish strainer.
Okay. And that's in the green bag then?
Yeah, fish strainer and green bag.
Okay, copy.
A little more than an hour into today's spacewalk, starting at 5:31 a.m. Central Time. Morgan already situated at the work site. Parmitano almost there on his way currently. Again, he'll be positioned sort of upside down from this view to allow him access to install the box that's currently in tow, that 350-pound new pump system. Parmitano almost at the work site to install that new box. Again, throughout today's broadcast, we'll be answering questions using the hashtag AskNASA. As Parmitano makes his way to the work site, he's practiced this plenty of times on the ground. Michelle asks, what are the procedures for practicing the spacewalks, and how are the situations simulated in the interior of the space station?
And then we will be bringing you Stationator 2 meters. So Drew, that will be bringing him down toward AMS.
Okay, copy. So toward his head.
Confirm.
Okay, Luca, we're already going to need a little bit of lean back. And Missy's just off to your left. And that's good lean right there, and you'll be able to see with that lean back, you'll be able to see that you're able to clear AMS. It is at about maybe half a meter. It's perfect. It's perfect. Let's do that. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, Drew and Luca, we're ready for motion.
Ready for motion.
All right, starting motion.
Morgan, from his angle, providing some insight.
Copy.
The view from Parmitano blocked by the 42 by 32 by 16-inch new pump. Still in constant communication with Jessica Meir at the controls of the Canadarm2. Assisted by Christina Cook.
Okay, I would say stop motion here.
Stopping motion.
Okay, so Luca, hold that right there. So we're really close to AMS, and so I think the next thing that we need to do is go toward DLC, toward your back, about a half meter. Right now, you don't have the room to put the pump in front of you. We need to give you some more clearance.
So I can lean back more. So I would say let her drive to the position, then we'll go to my right,
okay.
And I'll lean back rather than drive the arm. I can lean back here. I can do this.
Okay.
And then I can split the pump.
Okay. Copy. Stand by, and I'm going to move over to AMS then.
It'll be 40 centimeters to go to the published position.
And Jessica, I think I'll take those.
Okay, copy. And Drew, are you ready as well?
We're going to go continue 40 centimeters towards your head. Okay. All right, I'm ready for motion.
Starting motion.
Morgan providing that critical guidance.
Good motion, good clearance.
Working in tandem with Jessica Mira, the controls of the robotic arm, assisted by Cook inside the International Space Station, Parmitano at the end of the station's robotic arm. Right now, they're trying to get into a position to dock the new pump system to.
The big concern is just we're radiator to AMS right now, and I think you're going to need a little bit of back off, but did you want to accept this?
I think I will accept it. Jessica, I'll take 40 centimeters to my right.
Okay, copy. We need to get into the snapshot mode, so give us a minute, and then we'll get to that.
You have eyes on the map?
I do.
Okay. All right, you're going to feel me I'm going to be giving it gentle guides here, just to keep it from bumping into a handrail, but we're looking real good.
All right, thanks.
Showed up a lot quicker today.
Okay, Luca, we are ready. We're going to give you that 40 centimeters to your right, and Drew, the clearance for you will be Luca's right shoulder to the ROU.
Copy. Have a good view of it.
Okay, starting motion.
Okay, good motion.
Okay, good motion.
Good
So
clearance.
that's 20.
Preview.
That's 40.
And GCA complete.
Okay, copy. GCA complete.
Brakes
Would you like
on.
the brakes on now as well?
Yes, please.
Okay, stand by. Brakes are on.
I do. I'm going to lead back.
Right.
And then I'm going to teach the pump down. And then I'm going to need a little bit of guidance from you.
I'm going to put a hand on it.
Yep.
Just going to feel my tugs.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
As you're working that, guys,
over.
a reminder not to impart loads from both of you into either the AMS or the EOC at the same time.
Okay, copy.
Copy.
All right. So, Luca, come toward your right just a touch. Right? And then advance in X. Come back this way. Come back toward your head, and back away just a touch. You get a better hand on it. Okay. All right. Let's drive in a little bit. Okay. And you're over the soft dock. Give it a push. Okay. And hold that right there. You're in the soft dock. I'm just going to do some checks here. Here. Okay. All right. So the AAFs are clear of the docking envelope, and I can see 2 and 4. I think we should be able to pull it down past the vacuum case handrail there. Okay. Yeah. All right. We're in soft dock, and I see everything is clear. The wires, cables look good on your end. Are you able to see around the cables?
I can't see the yes.
Good?
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we're handing over here. We'll be back in about 40 seconds. You can get the PGT ready. Talk to you on the other side.
Okay.
Good work, Luke.
Good work to you too, bro. Hey.
All right.
Now experiencing a handover of some of that communication from the International Space Station. Video and audio should be regaining audio shortly. Might take a little bit longer for the video to regain. What you were seeing was Luca Parmitano at the end of the station's robotic arm. In tow, he brought the new pump system for the alpha magnetic spectrometer. This new pump system will be used for cooling the experiment, the cosmic particle collector on board the International Space Station. So far, this is the third spacewalk in a series of spacewalks designed for repairing this experiment, this box being the critical component of all the work that's been done so far.
Okay, that sounds good, guys. We're Bravo 7 clockwise 2 following the CAL on the PGT.
What you heard was Morgan and Parmitano working together to push that new system into place. It's been pushed into place, now working with Jeremy Hansen here in Mission Control Houston. That's the voice you're hearing from this room. He's helping the two astronauts through the next steps for programming that space drill, the pistol grip tool, that'll be used for securing the new box into place.
We were going to stage it on the Nader vacuum case handrail.
Okay, one more time. I have Bravo 7 clockwise 2.
Okay, good settings.
Correct.
And we're going to drive all 4 bolts, 4 turns initially, and give us a best effort on an accurate count for those first 4 turns in an X pattern.
Okay. Okay, starting with bolt number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, copy.
And I have low torque right now. And the count, I don't have a count a rev here. No count, still count a rev.
Yeah, but I counted you at the 7/16, so
Yeah.
I had you at 4.
Same here. Okay, go for number 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
This is Mission Control Houston. You're hearing Luca Parmitano count the number of turns used by the space drill, making sure that that new box is secured to its position. Much of the work that follows will be making sure that the data and power cables are connected, and to use some of the fittings that are secured to the outside of the box. These are the AAFs. These are the alternate fittings used to connect the tubes that have been already cut on previous spacewalks.
1, 2, 3, 4 turns on 2.
Okay, and now,
Start again.
sounds good. We're going to final torque, and we're expecting an additional 4 to 6 turns.
Okay, I need to position it.
Just watch that contact on the handrail.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had 5 turns, but I still have a low torque. Try and get a green light.
Let's stand by. Let's see what they have.
Yep, no, I got a green light. It was less than a quarter of a turn, so a total of 5 1/4.
Okay, that's right in the window, 9 turns total.
And I read 23.9. 9 1/4.
Okay.
Okay, going for number 4.
And I see the black line is flush.
4 bolts total for Parmitano to drive. 3 have already been completed. Parmitano working on that last bolt.
1, 2, green light 25.5.
Okay, copy that, Luca.
Go for number 3. Total 9.5. Go for number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 1/4. Green light 25.3.
Looking good over here.
And number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Five turns and 1/4. Green light 25.6.
Okay, those are all good, Luca. You can remove the scoop, hand it back to Drew. We're handing over here in about a minute. Drew, you're looking for the cap keepers next out of crew lock bag 4.
And all 4 lines look good as well.
Okay, yeah, that seemed like a real clean install. Sounds good. Drew, that scoop, when you get it from Luca, is going in green bag fish stringer hook 1.
Okay. Hook 1.
Talk to you on the other side of this LOS in about 30 seconds.
Now in a handover of some of those tracking and data relay satellite communications that provide video and audio from the International Space Station. Should be regaining audio communications here in just a few seconds, video communications after that. So far, Parmitano and Morgan have made their way to the work site and completed the setup. They brought the tools and the new pump over to the alpha magnetic spectrometer. Now working to install the pump. That's the next in their task list. They've docked it to its ports and they've driven all 4 bolts that hold it into place. The installation will be sort of complete once all the cables have been routed. That includes data and power. That'll be the primary job of Luca Parmitano, who has the good access from the end of the station's robotic arm. In the meantime, Andrew Morgan will be working on some of the preparations for that next step, which is to connect or swage some of the tubes. This will be the primary time constraint for the spacewalk today. It requires intricate work for tiny tubes using a swage connector.
All right, Luca, you'll take the cap keeper from Drew, and then you need to retrieve the power and data cables that you temp stowed on the ROU, and then we're going to remove the cap.
I have them I have them in reach. Yeah, in a good position for me to install them. I have the cap keeper.
Okay, all right, great. You can remove all 4 caps and call them out.
Cap keeper to Luca.
Here's the red back.
Have the red back.
Okay, I'm removing J1 from the pump.
Regaining some of that communication from the International Space Station. Some of the views here you're seeing getting a little darker. International Space Station flying 263 statute miles in an orbital nighttime just over Mongolia.
J1 has got good pins.
Copy.
Go
for J2.
From the helmet camera of Luca Parmitano, you can tell by the translucent numbers at the bottom right of the screen. He'll be helmet camera number 11 for today's spacewalk. He's again positioned upside down, so some of the markings there are upside down from his view. But right there in front of him are some of the connectors he'll use. The data cables and power cables have been pre-routed into position, allowing him access to just make the connections from there. Those pre-routing procedures took place during the previous spacewalk.
This one is it's T2, which goes to J2. Retrieving the cap.
Okay, that's right.
Okay, cap removed. And on this side, I have no FOD, a good EMI band. Do you want me to retrieve the other cables first before I install J2, or can I install J2?
Here, go to install J2, Luca. It goes to P2.
Please go to install P2 to P2.
That's it. Just double check the no FOD pins and EMI for us.
Yeah, one more time. On J2, I have good pins, no FOD. And on P2, I have no FOD and a good EMI band.
Okay, go to mate.
Okay, mate. Okay, pit. And overset the lever forward. Full test.
All right, good stuff. All right, next you can do P1. Drew, I see we just got WVS back on both of you, so that's good news for us. I see you working the tool board. And then having one mini workstation red available for the plugs, should already have. And Drew, cap keepers from crew up bag 3. It's all swaging items.
Roger, all available. Okay, I have good pins, no FOD, and good EMI band on J1 and T1.
Okay, go to mate.
And ready to connect with your go.
Go to mate.
You work.
This is Mission Control Houston from the helmet camera of Luca Parmitano making those connections. The power and data cables were routed on a previous spacewalk to allow easy access for Parmitano to make the connections. Now that the UTTPS, the Upgraded Tracker Thermal Pump System, is the name of the new pump system that's currently installed by 4 bolts on the outside of the AMS. That'll be its home for the remainder of the life of the alpha magnetic spectrometer. Now just making those power and data connections. Mission Control will power it up, just make sure everything's good to go on the pump system and everything's working. And then they'll move on to the swaging of tubes. That's connecting the tubes that have been cut on a previous spacewalk. Drew Morgan standing by for preparations on that task.
IVA on the UTTPS to tether those wires.
Work. We picked the right corner, Luca. I sure did.
Okay, Luca, you've got everything connected. We're going to power up the box if you're good with that.
I'm very happy with that. Crossing my fingers
crossing my glove finger and my booted toes.
The moment of truth. Luca Parmitano, make those power connections. From here in Mission Control, Houston, working with the Payload Operations Center in Marshall Space Flight Center, they'll check the power of the box, make sure everything is working.
All right, that'll do. I'll take a glove check while you're at it.
Okay. I uncrossed my gloves and they are still pristine. I do see there was a little bit of discoloration from one of the captain cables, but it's gone. And other than that, they are pristine. No changes, no deltas. Good hat. Fine.
Okay, you can grab your PGT. We're going to set Alpha 4, clockwise 1.
Alpha 4, clockwise 1.
Yeah, and I miscalled that, Luca. It's counter 1. Alpha 4, counter 1.
Alpha 4, counter 1. Okay, Alpha. Counter 1.
While the pump system is still powering up, Luca Parmitano preparing that space drill for the next set of tasks.
Alpha 4, counter 1.
Okay, those are good settings. You can stand by. And you are now go to open the refill valve. This is important though, Luca. It's not to hard stop. We're only going 1 to 1 1/4 turns.
Okay, Drew.
How copy, Luca? You got that? 1 to 1 1/4 turns only?
1 to 1 1/4.
That's it. And then you'll read the turns, and we're just curious what torque value you're going to get, but it'll be a low torque.
Okay, and stand by, Luca. So I got a good view of the black line, so I can call the stop.
Okay, so do I.
Okay, great.
Ready? Let's go. Starting.
Okay.
One turn. And the torque is 2.3.
Okay, we got it. 1 turn, 2.3. Good job. All right, you're handing that PGT over to Drew. Drew, you're putting it in the green bag. Fish stringer hook 6. And then you're ready to...
I'm going to give you...
And I have a red on it.
Okay. And I'm keeping these red, Drew, so that then I have it for the camera.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have it.
Parmitano completing the use of that pistol grip tool, handing off to Andrew Morgan, standing by.
You're heading to the VSB.
Drew, do you want to give me the camera later?
I can give it to you just...
Are you ready for brakes off?
You can go brakes off, Jessica.
Okay, copy. I'm going to take brakes off, and then the first thing we'll do is get set up to take out that 40 centimeters. So I'll bring you 40 centimeters to your left.
Stand by for that.
No, we do have a red on here for you already.
Okay, that's too many. You think you can get rid of that one?
I can. But I don't think we want to delay the... It's going to take me a second, so I'd say go ahead with the good.
All right.
So then,
And Jessica, you go for motion. Jessica, you copy?
And Luca, stand by. We're actually going to get set up that we're just going to not have to take out that input. We're just going to have to bring you back to Station Zeta.
Copy.
for our bookkeeping, the small ret associated with GoPro and Crew Lockback 4 is going to stay, and we're going to use his PGT ret and the integral.
Okay, copy that, Drew.
Okay, Luca, and we are ready for that motion. If you are, it'll be bringing you station zenith, same as before, so a little bit less than 2 meters.
By 30 seconds.
Copy.
Jessica, you go for motion.
Okay, and Drew, you ready with the clearances as well?
Ready.
Okay, starting motion, station zenith.
That, now lean forward, Luca. That's good.
So now that Parmitano has made those connections of power and data cables from this position, sort of upside down from the perspective of the alpha magnetic spectrometer, Jessica Meir now maneuvering the station's robotic arm. She'll position him essentially in the opposite direction. He'll be turned around and facing right side up, which will allow him great access to some of the tubes. That'll be the next part of the task. Those tubes have already been cut on the previous spacewalk using a rough cutter. There'll be the rough cut tubes will be clean cut to allow them to be a nice uniform shape, and then start the swaging process. The swaging devices, the alternate fitting, are currently on the box. They'll be taken off and installed one by one on the tubes that are cut. Once they're clean cut and have a nice round shape to them, and measured using some of the tools that have been specifically designed for this spacewalk, including a straightener. That's also a straightener and a measuring device. Before we get to that, Parmitano still making his way over to the worksite. Morgan standing by with all the tools in hand.
position hold. Luca will load the next showcase.
Copy.
So again, Parmitano making his way over to the new position.
Yeah, we're looking real good. No issues on that front so far.
How about time?
Also good. I'm not going to give you any bad news. You can keep asking me, but I'm just going to tell you it's good. We're looking great.
Just like to hear it.
Parmitano positioned essentially upside down with his head facing towards the Earth to give him good access to that work site, connecting those power and data cables, all complete. The new box installed onto the alpha magnetic spectrometer. The next more complicated set of tasks include swaging some of the tubes that have been cut on a previous spacewalk. Those tubes were rough cut and capped off and labeled so that Parmitano will know which tube goes where. There's 8 total. 6 of them will be at the work site that that he's heading to right now. That's at that vertical support beam, one of the best points of entry for accessing the tubes and connecting to the new box. The other 2 tubes will be, Parmitano will have to be repositioned to another point of the alpha magnetic spectrometer.
We have good insight into the new pump box. We got good power, good pressure, and we can tell the refill valve is open. So that's excellent.
All right, that warms my tips better than the glove heaters. And the gloves are good shape, no changes, no deltas, good happen.
Good news, weed shows that we can tear things apart and build them back up.
Yeah, we got a little ways to go yet, but we agree. We're looking good. How about a glove and half from you, Drew?
Gloves are no change, and the half is dry.
Here's position hold. Luca will load the next showcase.
Copy, standing by.
Drew, how are you doing for time? Or there's a potential get-ahead task if you have the space and time to do it.
Name the task. Was this to take a look at the mud flap?
No, we're not going to do that today. It would be to have you go up and look at the tube restraint blanket by the AAFs and see if you can remove that. We're going to have Luca do it as soon as he gets there, unless you can reach it.
Roger, let me take a look.
Luca, ready to start this showcase, 1.5 minutes.
Copy.
Motion.
Jessica Meir continuing to maneuver the station's robotic arm. At the end, Luca Parmitano being repositioned to his new work site to work on those 6 tubes for swaging, essentially connecting them to the new box. You heard reports from the ground here in Mission Control Houston. That new box powered up, pressure's good. Everything's working as planned so far. Ahead of the timeline at this point, giving Drew Morgan enough time to do a get-ahead task, maybe get some work done before Luca Parmitano gets to his new work site.
Yeah, this is a nice to do, so use your judgment here. We're not too concerned about saving the 30 seconds.
So watch out for the number 7 there.
Yes, this is 7 here. Wait a little bit, but
Jeremy, I'm right here. So
Yep, no issues.
I'm ready to go into the position.
Okay. Your call, guys.
yeah, let me back out of the
Yeah,
way.
so I'm right here.
Okay, here's position hold. We're going to switch over to manual for the next maneuver.
Ready.
Okay, Luca, this is going to be bringing you a little bit less than a meter station forward. So it's for you up.
Copy.
Okay, ready for motion?
Ready for motion.
Okay, starting motion.
Motion.
Copy, 50 to go.
Okay, this is where you get real close to blue plate, but I see you clear. To your left a little bit. Or your right? So, nope, your left. That's good. Review.
There's your position.
Copy.
Luca, this next motion is going to be bringing you in toward the VSP worksite.
Copy. Ready.
Starting motion.
You're getting a live view from the helmet camera of Luca Parmitano.
Motion.
Copy, 10 degrees to go.
Good clearance. It's your left shoulder.
Starting to come into view, you can see those tubes all capped off, those silver circles there. There's 6 of them that Parmitano will have to work with. He'll be in a good position.
That's that position. We're going to switch over to snapshot, and then we will go with the published GCA inputs that we have.
Excellent.
Okay, Luca, we are all set up. First input is going to be a roll to your right, 15 degrees.
Copy. That will help with my clearance.
Okay, ready for motion?
Ready for motion.
Starting motion.
Clearance.
And Drew, you're watching Luca and the APFR to the row U.
Copy.
Halfway there now.
Copy.
Continuing to work through the procedures to grant Luca Parmitano access to the VSB, that's the Vertical Support Beam worksite. The vertical support beam.
Roll. Now I'm going to be coming to your right, about 30 centimeters.
Copy.
And Drew, you'll be looking at the clearance from Luca to AMS.
Copy. I have the clearance.
Starting motion.
The vertical support beam underneath was those tubes support beam was removed and jettisoned overboard, allowing access to the tubes, which have been rough cut and capped off on the previous spacewalk. Parmitano will be spending the majority of today's spacewalk here at this worksite.
And Drew, for you, that's going to be the boot plate and the wrist to the diagonal beam.
Copy. I have them in sight.
Copy. Starting motion.
Good motion, good clearance.
Okay, there's your published, and now I'm going to roll you further another 15 degrees to the right.
Stand by.
Standing by.
Is that the last motion?
No, what we have for the published would be continuing your roll another 15 degrees to the right, pitching you down about 8 degrees, and then bringing you in 40 centimeters.
Okay, then continue.
Okay, I'll start with the roll to the right. And Drew, same as before, and that will be Luca and the APFR to the row U.
Copy.
Starting motion.
Good motion. All right, good clearance.
Continuing.
Jessica Meir on the inside of the space station at the controls of the robotic arm, assisted by Christina Cook. Maneuvering Luca Parmitano into position at the worksite next to the tubes. He'll spend the majority of his time there, working with his intricate set of specially designed tools to clean cut and swage or connect the tubes to the new pump box. As these maneuvers are underway, we're looking forward to sunrise in about 4 minutes.
Clearance.
Copy. Okay, Luca, that is the end of the pitch. Now I'm going to bring you in, body in, 40 centimeters.
Okay, copy.
And Drew, this will be, of course, Luca's clearance to AMS.
Copy.
Starting motion.
Clearance.
3, 2, 1, stop motion.
Copy motion, and that is right at our published.
Wow. Okay. We are ready. GCA complete.
GCA complete?
Okay, Drew.
We are ready for the next
Luca
step.
needs a MWS RET from you. The sun will be coming up here in just a minute or two. And a warning here, Luca, reminding you about the sharp edges, the nut plates on the back of the IPA and the VSB.
Copy.
Luca, we will leave the brakes off unless you tell us otherwise.
Thank you.
Okay, Luca, as you receive that RET from Drew, you're going to put it on the tube restraint blanket, and then you can release the integral hook that's on the UTTPS. It's on the forward handrail, and remove the blanket. Remember, a reminder about the Velcro saver. We want to make sure it all stays on.
Copy. Copy all, Jeremy.
This is going in the green bag, correct? All right.
That's right, hook 5. Next thing you're getting ready, Drew, is the 7/8 wrench.
From the helmet camera of Luca Parmitano, you see him holding on to that box he just installed, the new pump box. Removing the blanket that's revealing some of the tubes that will be used to connect here very shortly.
Doesn't look like a burrito to him. It looks like a cannoli siciliani.
It's a very mean to say right now, but thanks. They're both delicious.
No doubt. I'm sure he's happy-go-lucky about that. All right, Luca, so you're looking for picking your first AAF that you're going to use today. Reminder on those, as you pull them out, grab behind the AAF so you don't inadvertently rotate the swage setting.
Copy. Okay, the first one out is number 6.
Okay. It's 6. And Luca, do you see the Velcro saver on all 3 sides is still in place? We can see some of it in your WVS.
I did check the aft side over here. I cannot really see the bottom, but I do see the beginning and the end of it, and it's flat. So I see 3 out of 4 sides.
Okay, copy that.
Velcro saver.
That's good. So we copy you've got tube 6. You can go ahead and remove the MLI. Drew, we need a RET for the plug, and you can report the initial numbers, Luca.
So, one by one, Luca Parmitano will remove the covers from the tubes, revealing the alternate fitting underneath. This alternate fitting will be the tool that you'll hear a lot during these next few steps to do each tube one by one. This is the tool that'll be used to connect the tubes that are currently capped off to the new pump box. That bolt you see in the middle will be turned by a wrench, and that'll complete the swaging technique, essentially pinching the tubes, mating them together, and allowing the flow of carbon dioxide for the cooling of the alpha magnetic spectrometer.
Okay, the first setting that I see before even removing anything, I have Foxtrot 7. The line, black line,
Okay.
in place.
As expected, Foxtrot 7's good. You open the handle, you can secure it with a wrench, and then you can open the VLI.
Temporarily, this retaining blanket, I'm going to put it over at the red bag just to keep it really busy at the green bag, so I think I'm just going to put it over there for a little while.
Okay. Are you putting it in the red bag or just near it?
Nothing's really in a bag per se right now, but in the general vicinity of it, it's on the lid.
Okay. Understood.
Okay, I need the spot, one turn back after fully releasing the VLI. I still have a Foxtrot 7, no changes. I'm closing it back.
Okay. Good job, Luca. It's like you practiced this. All right, so next we're going to go ahead and perform the clean cut. Let's make sure we get the right one. So tube 6.
Cutter staged here for you, Luke, when you're ready.
All right.
Okay, and let's, we'll need it. And you don't need to put the MLI back on, Luca.
I'm just trying to position it so that I can move it.
Okay, we want to ret to cap 6.
Ret for cap.
Drew, make sure the clean cutter is prepped.
Clean cutters set.
From the helmet camera of Andrew Morgan, Morgan's job is to work with the tool board containing all of the necessary tools for Luca Parmitano, who has the best access to the worksite right now. Those little tubes to be cut by a clean cutter. There's the one on the top right here. A very intelligently designed cutter. The knob on the back there will be used to cut the tube uniformly across the entire surface, allowing for no imperfections and a nice clean cut, why it's called the clean cutter. And that allows it to be mated to that alternate fitting for a good swage or a good connection for a tight seal. There's the clean cutter right now, seeing turning the knob there for a nice clean cut. The cap at the end secured by a tether, so whenever the tube is cut, the tether will pull away the cap.
Yeah, we're watching you, Luca. You're doing all the right things. We had the same questions down here. You're reading our mind.
Yeah, I was pre-steaming. There we go. Okay.
Okay, that looks good, Luca. Now the extraordinary patience required part. And warning, as that does cut, we want you to avoid contact with the ends of the tube.
Again, Parmitano working with those specially designed tools. This is a very delicate part of the procedures to clean cut the tube. As Jeremy Hansen here in Mission Control Houston mentions, it's a delicate procedure and time-consuming.
Great on time today, so we'll just take our time with this. This is exactly what we came out to do today. Drew, next is the straightener.
Tube 6, or cap for Tube 6 back to me.
Nice.
Okay, here's the straightener. We'll see how this works coming off the board.
A nice clean cut by Parmitano. Tube 6, the first of 6 for this work site. The next thing he's doing is using another tool specially designed for the spacewalk called the tube straightener. Does exactly what it sounds like. Make sure that tube is straight for the length that's specified in the straightener. What he'll do is he'll straighten it. He'll mark it off with some capped on tape. That tape will mark how far it is to be pushed into the alternate fitting for swaging.
Okay, and we'll need tape next, Drew.
Okay.
The length must be very precise for a good swage, making sure that the connection of the tubes is good, that it's tight and sealed
I see one problem with
to allow the flow of carbon dioxide.
it's restricting how we can answer the tape here. Okay, I have here for number 7, Tamara George.
Number 7, Tamara George, coming off the board.
Looks like it came off cleanly.
So as you put that tape on, just make sure we're all the way in the window, Luca, on the straightener.
I'm going to double check on the outside gauge.
Copy that.
The tape is all the way touching the edge, so it's perfect gauge.
Okay, excellent. So now you can line up the AAF with the tube. We'll double check the numbers and then insert it.
Okay, I confirm I have Foxtrot 7.
Okay, that's as expected, Luca.
Tube 6 has been clean cut and marked off with tape, using the clean cutter and the straightener to get it ready for swaging with the alternate fitting.
Okay, I'm inside the AAF, and I'm about past the black line. I'm about half an inch still to go.
Okay.
I want to force it more than that. It's definitely in past the line.
Okay, Luca. We're handing over in 30 seconds, Luca, so you can go ahead and get ready to swage, but how about you wait for us on the other side before you actually turn the wrench?
We might. Yes, we'll do that.
Now in the middle of a short handover period, you're getting a look at the inside of the International Space Station Flight Control Room. Teams here looking over the International Space Station systems as well as the procedures for today's spacewalk. Teams here led by Flight Director Emily Nilsson. The voice you're hearing is Jeremy Hansen, the ground IV, communicating with the crew from here in Mission Control Houston. At the forward end of the screen, you see Jeff Radigan, who was the flight director for the first 2 spacewalks. Emily Nelson will be taking over for the next 2.
Okay, Luca, we're back with you. So keeping an eye on the tape and making sure it doesn't move out of the AAF at all. That's the key point here, especially since we're already half an inch out. Your go ahead to give it 1 turn clockwise.
Clockwise, numbers increasing.
Okay, keep an eye on the tape. We don't have WVS, so you guys, it's all on you to watch the tape.
I have good eyes on the tape.
Regaining some video communications from the International Space Station. Luca Parmitano undergoing the swaging
Luca, is what you're looking for. Just
of the tubes.
We're back on WVS. Everything looks good.
You see him using a wrench with the alternate fitting, that AAF. Here's the tool he's using now. There's a little bolt in the middle there, all numbered. Doing a very small turn, and all he's doing is just pinching that tube to the alternate fitting to ensure a good fit and good flow of carbon dioxide. Just a simple 7/8 of an inch wrench there. A small turn, but it should ensure a good fit. He'll have to do this 6 times at this work site.
I have Foxtrot 7 up and fish. The tape hasn't moved. I have a good full test.
Okay, good. Great swage. Next is to tighten the VLI handle. Remember, give it a good firm tighten. And then we'll cycle the cap, close everything up. And I don't know how we didn't really talk about this, about taking a photo of these prior to putting the MLI on. I don't know if that's practical or not. But we are doing reasonable on time today. That seemed to go pretty smooth, so we probably could take a photo.
Want a photo of what?
A photo of the AF before you pull the MLI over it.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Nobody's actually asking you to do that. I just thought it was an idea you might want to take advantage of.
Yes, the VLI is open still.
It's really close. I don't know if the camera is in a good position to focus on it.
Yeah, understood. GoPro might be the better way to capture these AAFs. I don't know if that's going to be handy or not for future ones, but this is fine for now.
Cycling the cap.
Okay. And I think I saw you tighten the VLI all the way.
I did. It was all tight, and
all right. Cover it up with the MLI. We're done. 1 down. 7 to go.
and it was 6. Going up and away.
Okay. All right. That's great. So just a technique observation in case it's helpful. It looks like you're doing these like with the tube directly pointed at your chest. If that's awkward, don't be afraid to change the orientation of the tube coming out of the VSP.
Copy.
All right.
Okay,
Pick your next lucky tube.
I think next one is 7.
Okay, whatever one's convenient.
This one will be 7.
Okay, we'll take 7.
7.
Drew, we need a ret.
For the plug.
This is Mission Control Houston. As mentioned, the first of 6 tubes on this work site are completed. There's 2 more on the other side to make 8 tubes. You'll basically be repeating the process 8 times for swaging the tubes to the new pump box.
I have Hotel 6.
Hotel 6 is a good number.
Okay, opening up.
Okay, I'm watching the WVS. Everything's looking good, Luca. To get the wrench on, you go to open the VLI.
I have to plug.
Okay, one turn back, and Hotel 6. There was a slight motion to a smaller number. So now the line is a little bit aligned, but in the good direction. So I think I'm not going to do anything.
Yep, it's a good call, Luca. All right, you can set that aside. Now we need to ret to tube 7.
We have ret ready.
Drew, you can get the clean cutter ready.
Clean cutter is ready.
Okay, ret.
All right, ret for 7. Clean cutter is right in front there, and it's set. Okay, we have a ret on the cap. Here's the clean cutter, it's set.
Drew, next is the straightener.
Back to me. See the straightener back. Here's the straightener. Here's the straightener. It's got the clean cutter.
Clean cutting for tube number 7 complete. Going to repeat the process for each of these tubes using the straightener to make sure it's nice and even for the length of the swaging needed. Marked off with tape and then connected to the swage, the alternate fitting.
Nice straight tubes.
We have Drew.
Okay, here's One right here, that's got serial number 23, Tara Yoakum.
Serial number 23, Tara, you're on. Safety's on, and I'm going to go on the outer gauge to judge it. And again, I'm right on the edge.
Okay, Luca.
Okay, I still have Hotel 6 still in place.
Okay, I heard Hotel 6, Luca. That's a good number.
Hotel 6. Copy, good number.
Now you can align them and insert it.
Okay, this one is maybe a little less than a quarter of an inch from the line.
Okay, we copy, Luca. That looks good. Your go ahead. Well, as long as you monitor that tape, your go to swage, one turn.
Copy. Work.
The cap and the plug are retained on the cap keeper's read.
Okay, copy, Drew.
No motion.
Spacewalkers ahead of the timeline, 2 hours 23 minutes into today's spacewalk. Parmitano working to swage or connect the tubes that were cut previously on the last spacewalk and clean cut just prior to this swaging.
Hotel 6, take a pull check.
A quarter of an inch. I have a good pull check.
All right, tighten VLI.
And work. Cap. Close the VLI. The handle.
Have a picture if you can.
Dude, you have the camera.
I do. The problem is their shoulder is kind of between me and a good shot. Let me see.
We're doing good on time. What about grabbing the GoPro, Luca? Do you have it on your swing arms, though, or not?
It's on my swing arm. Yeah.
Get it off for you.
You can pass me yours.
It's easier for me to actually pop yours on and off than mine, and yours is running. Mine's not right now.
Okay.
While he's doing that, Luca, let's see if he can help our view out a little bit so we can back you up. That tube 6 that you have up there, just push it off to your left.
This one?
Yeah.
It's just right in the WVS when you lean forward into your work envelope.
So here's 7 right there.
Yeah, that should help. Thanks. you just push that one down, I don't know if that'll be in your work envelope, Luca, or not, instead of up. Yeah, that's fine too. That works great.
It's easier where I have it, if you don't mind.
No, we'll work with it for sure. Okay, let's pick the next one.
Going down, so. Yeah, I'm going for number 3. Are you ready for red? Not quite.
2 tubes down of the 6 that are at this work site, tubes 6 and 7. Parmitano working on 3. Tubes 2 and 4 on the other side of the alpha magnetic spectrometer will require a little bit of repositioning after they finish up with these 6, but essentially we'll be repeating the process 8 times. First preparing the alternate fitting, then clean cutting the tubes that are capped off to allow for a good swage, but first measuring and straightening with the straightening tool, marking off with tape, putting into the fitting, and then swaging or pinching the tubes together.
Okay, maybe 4 pounds.
Here's the red one, yeah.
Okay, you can put the red on.
Red's on.
And I have number 3. It's Charlie 6. Charlie 6.
Charlie 6 is good, Luca. All right. Next is wrench and loosen the VLI.
What that to me?
Okay, I saw the VLI is tightened. 1 turn. Set that aside. Charlie 6. And next we're going to go ret to cap 3. And then Drew, get the clean cutter ready.
Clean cutter is prepped. That is in hand.
And clean cutter.
Clean cutter is aged there.